Hello, happy Monday. Welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, welcome. My name is Zed Espinoza. I'm a writer, a script writer, and I'm also the daughter of a lay exorcist and a pornographer. And because of my incredibly dissonant and wild life, I was introduced to the spiritual world, to spiritual warfare from a very young age. I've remarked in several podcasts that my mom used to try to exorcise or deliver demonically possessed people in our living room, and that opened up a whole can of worms. And I had, I didn't really jive with all of what she was doing. Even though I believed it because I was experiencing it and living the situation, I rebelled. I was very angry with God for many reasons, and I spent some years in the occult as an elemental witch. I did a lot of spontaneous magic, and it took a long, long time to be delivered from that. It took years, and such is the case. Why? Because when you open yourself up to the spiritual world, however it may be, um, you're there. You will forever spend a foot in and a foot out of the spiritual world, and it's incredibly difficult to get rid of certain demons. And one of the demons that I have, through my experience, of course, everything I'm talking about is experience through my personal experience of decades in this. I'm older. I'm 55 years old. So all of this started when I was between 7 or 8 years old, although some things had manifested earlier. But I really, really started experiencing them on a very, very personal and intense level when I was 7 or 8 years old. I was almost 8. So when I gave my testimony, I started to receive a lot of emails and messages from people that needed to know more because obviously they felt that they were being attacked by certain things. And the things that the entities that they feel that they were being attacked on by, some people weren't sure what they were. Other people knew that they were sex demons. And the sex demons are the incubus and the succubus. The plural is incubi or succubi. And the word incubus comes from incubare, the Latin, which means to lie upon. So why is it important? Why is it important to talk about demons? Well, the first rule of any kind of warfare is you have to know your enemy. You have to know how they enter. You have to know the nature of them. And you have to know how all of that, because you need to know also how to defeat them. Certain demons, because there are many, many kinds of demons, will attach themselves not only to you throughout your life if you are not properly delivered, and even then you still have to fight on with constant attacks. But they can go through generations, and the incubi and the succubi are some demons that are incredibly clingy, let's say. They I think of almost all the demons, I would call them the Velcro demons. They'll just attach themselves to you. So what I've been doing very recently is I've been presenting an audio of a sacred, it's a sacred text. It's a Christian text written by Saint Dominic, who was the founder of the Dominican order. And he wrote a book called the Malleus Maleficorum, also called The Witch's Hammer. And he wrote this because so many centuries ago, these demons were very, very real. In fact, I even think that they were more of a reality to people at those times than modern day life, modern day people. And I just feel that we've become really spiritually stupid. We have opened up all kinds of portals through technology, and through the mass production of literature and cinema. And this has created curiosity, and we all know that curiosity killed the cat. So, in his text, which, by the way, it started the Spanish Inquisition, and we all know how that ended up. Um, in his text, two chapters, I believe it's chapter 2 and 3, are dedicated to the Incubi and Succubi. And I haven't gotten there yet because the text is like super long, and also it's like super outdated language. So I'm really trying to make it as exciting as I can. And I'm presenting it in, 20 to 25 minute, even sometimes a little less, 17 minute, 25 minute intervals. So if anyone's interested in reading about them and knowing even the history of where, of people who believe this in a more realistic sense than today, that's why I'm presenting it. So I haven't gotten to, like I said, I haven't gotten to chapters of the Succubi and the Incubi yet, but we'll get there. It's interesting to note, though, that in modern day literature or cinema, the incubus and the succubus have yet to be really portrayed accurately. There are two films that I feel, because I've seen them, I feel that portray them well. One of them is called The Entity, and I don't remember when it was made. I think it was the 80s, the early 80s. I do not recommend that you watch it because it is so demonic, that film. I watched it once, and all cans of worms were opened after we watched it. The lights went out in our house for weeks, and all of us were tormented. All of me and my siblings were tormented for months after we watched that film in the good old days of Blockbuster. Um, the other film that I have seen more than once, it's called It Follows, and I'm not really sure what year it came out in. I think it was, oh, I'm not sure, but it must have been like 10 to 12 years ago. And that film accurately, in my experience, represents how an incubi or an incubus or a succubus could enter someone's life and follow them. And the only discrepancy I had with the film is that the demonic entity is portrayed as super ugly. And most demons, there are many, many, many kinds and many levels of demons exist, um, as do different kinds of angels. And I've had angelic encounters that I'll talk about in another time. I can do another series on that. But when it comes to demons, they're mostly portrayed as like super ugly, ghastly, just like so gross, right? And this is how this demonic entity is portrayed in this particular film. But the truth is, the incubi and the succubi present themselves as most beautiful, beautiful creatures. And demons have the ability to do that. They can manifest in many different ways. But the incubi and succubi, they are usually considered incredibly exotic and beautiful, and therefore enticing. So, in order to talk about them, let's talk about a personal experience. Now, this is not my personal experience. This is the experience of someone that I know who will not be named. And this man was involved with a woman. He met her on like a dating app, and he was incredibly taken by her. And now she was, according to him, an attractive girl, but there was something about her that was incredibly sexy, and he was just drawn to her in that way. And they started to have a physical relationship very quickly. And during the act, the woman changed. Her face literally changed. It twisted. She even seemed, as he told me, like a different person. And the voices that she made, that came out of her during this act, were terrifying. And I said, well, what did you do? Right? I asked him, and he said, I kept going because he felt such attraction to what was going on. It was all new, and it was just so, it was so lustful. In later conversations, excuse me, in later conversations he had with her, um, he told me that this woman's voice would change during conversations, and she would say that she was a demon. This man's life after this encounter was havoc. He went through great excuse me, I don't know what's going on here. He went through great financial hardship. He lost a great many of his friends. He had health problems, and ultimately he found Christ. And but even then, it still took a long time for him to be delivered. Now, when he told me this story, I totally freaked out. I was like, "Do you realize that that was a succubus?" Now, succubus comes from the Latin succubare, which means to lie under. Now, he didn't know it at that time. He, at that time, was so interested in how different this woman was and how good the sex was with her that he just started to become interested in other things. He became interested in the tarot cards. He became interested in spiritualism. He became interested in visiting channelers and mediums. And this all came from this one woman. And as far as I know, he is still dealing with the effects of this. Now, my question to you is this. He, during his act, was having actual sex with a demon, self-proclaimed. And do you think that if he had sex with someone else, that he would infect the other person? The answer is yes, of course. I stated previously in my first talk on demons that when you have this physical intimate act with an incubus or succubus, you are actually having an exchange of spiritual DNA. So, and I think we can all agree that the act of sex is more than just two physical bodies. We are giving our all. And because it's an act of creation, many Satanists and witches use sex during their masses and their horrible satanic masses and rituals in order to bring about many works of magic, because it is the act of creation. Remember, God is the creator. It's the act of the creation that has been corrupted and used for nefarious reasons. So, how else can they enter into our lives and attach themselves to us? Well, pornography is a big one. And my father was a pornographer. And they will attach through lust, through incredible, inexplicable desire, an obsession with something or someone, things, all kinds of sexual acts that are incredibly perverse. And pornography is a huge one where they get attached. So once they enter, not only do they attach themselves for many years, and they will probably manifest in your dreams. You will actually have these dreams where you are having an intimate act with something that you know isn't right. Many years ago, when I was being attacked and being delivered from occultism and all kinds of crazy stuff I was in, and I was in the process of being delivered, I would be visited often by an incubus who was very, very beautiful, very attractive, and even in my dreams, I would feel an attraction, like, wow, this is so handsome. but something was wrong with its genitalia. And that is one way you can recognize that in your dreams. Um, if it starts to manifest outside of your dreams, there are these terrible compulsions that you find it almost impossible to fight against. So, going back to the reading of uh, the Malleus, the witch's hammer, I believe it's very important to go back into history and to see how people at that time explained these demonic entities, because I believe now in modern world we're just so spiritually stupid. We have become so numb to every evil and every small and big portal that is constantly being opened, and the easy access to all kinds of information, that we have become numb to the reality of the spiritual world. So there's so much more to talk about. I will continue on with the series. I hope that this has answered your questions, some of the questions, or at least a part of the questions. Like I said, this is such a very long and complicated topic. It's not something that can be summarized, in my opinion, with just a very small video. But should you feel that you are being attacked, what's the first thing you should do? And I think this is important. Repent. Get away from it. If you're completely addicted to sex, or just like it's addicted, an obsession and a compulsion, pornography also is a huge one. I am so against pornography for so many reasons. But you have to immediately repent, and you have to just pull yourself away. And usually when that happens, you have to be prepared, because then you'll start getting even more tempted, and you'll probably go through having some dreams. So I'm going to wrap it up here, but I hope that I'm able to continue on with this talk at at least once a week. That's my hope. Lent is coming up. I'm a Catholic, and I will be talking a bit this week about how I prepare for Lent. I know that as a Catholic, every Catholic should prepare for Lent. Not every other denomination does. I think I think the Lutherans and the Methodists do. I know the Baptists don't. But hey, Lent is a Christian thing, right? Easter is a Christian holiday. So I do prepare for it. So I think I will talk a bit about that. But also during Lent, while I am going to be continue reading from the Witch's Hammer, I am going to start uploading the Imitation of Christ, my reading of the Imitation of Christ, which I think is really appropriate for the Lenten season. It is something that I go to often. It's, I think, the second text that is read. Okay, so let me backtrack. So as Christians, the first word that we read is Bibles, and the second one, it's not a Bible, but it's a text written by Kempis, is the Imitation of Christ. And that text has helped me so much in my journey of suffering. I have suffered a great long most of my life, and it's just really helped me. It's helped me find the purpose in pain. So I will be supplementing that as well with that. So, but I do want to wrap it up. It's turned out to be like super long, but I mean, how can it not be long? We're talking about something and things. We're talking about entities that are, they've been around forever, and there's a lot to talk about. So, wishing you all a great day. God bless you, and I hope to hear from you in the comments. I love all of your comments. I wish you well. Have a great day, and eat chocolate now, because Lent is coming, and a lot of people who do like the whole Lenten thing, they don't eat chocolate. So like double up on it now. Have a good day. Bye.